The snow had covered the land for many days and nights, turning the wide fields into a silent white sea. Noah was a poor cowboy who lived alone in a small wooden cabin near the hills. He woke before sunrise every morning because winter did not forgive late sleepers. His firewood was low, and his food was almost gone. He wrapped his old coat around his body and stepped outside to face the cold world again. Noah owned only one old horse and a few tools that had seen better days. He had no family left in the town, and very few people noticed him anymore. Still, he rode out each day to check the land and look for work or anything useful. The snow made riding slow and dangerous, but stopping was not an option. Survival pushed him forward even when hope felt thin. That afternoon the sky turned gray and heavy clouds hung low. The wind grew sharp and cut through Noah's coat. His horse suddenly slowed and refused to move forward. Noah looked ahead and noticed something strange near a frozen ditch. The snow there was uneven, as if something underneath had tried to move. His heart began to race because winter often hid sad stories beneath its white cover. Noah climbed down and walked closer while the cold bit into his hands. He brushed the snow away carefully, and his breath caught in his throat. A horse was buried there, almost completely. Her body was stiff and her breath was weak. Her eyes were open and filled with fear. She had been left behind in the storm with no chance to escape. As Noah cleared more snow, he saw the shape of her belly and understood the truth. The horse was pregnant and close to giving birth. His chest tightened with pain and anger because someone had abandoned her when she needed help the most. Noah spoke softly to her and promised that she was not alone anymore. The cold made every movement hard, but Noah refused to stop. He used his hands and a small shovel to free her legs. His fingers burned and went numb, but he kept working. The horse tried to move and let out a weak sound. Noah wrapped his coat around her neck to keep her warm and calm. Getting her out of the ditch was only the first challenge. The path back to his cabin was long and covered in deep snow. Noah tied ropes and used his own horse to help pull her forward. Step by step they moved through the storm. The wind howled around them, but Noah focused on each breath and each step. By the time they reached the cabin, darkness had fallen. Noah lit a fire and led the pregnant horse into his small barn. The space was simple and old, but it was warm. He laid down straw and brought her water and grain. She drank slowly, and her breathing became a little stronger. As Noah checked her body, he noticed a strange mark on her side. It was a brand, but not one he had seen before. It looked old and rare. Noah felt a deep sense of mystery surround the horse. He wondered who she belonged to and why she had been left to die. The questions filled his mind, but there was no time for answers. That night Noah stayed awake beside the barn fire. The snow tapped against the walls and the wind tried to break inside. The horse rested, but her body still shook from weakness. Noah spoke to her quietly, telling her she was safe. He had little, but he was willing to give everything he had to save her. Memories of his own past drifted through his thoughts. Noah had once dreamed of owning land and raising strong horses. Life had taken those dreams away piece by piece. Losing family and fortune had made him quiet and forgotten. Now this horse had entered his life at the coldest moment. As the night stretched on, the horse shifted and let out a low sound. Noah knew she was close to labor. Fear and responsibility settled heavy on his chest. He had never helped deliver a foal before. Still, he prepared what little he could and trusted his instincts. Outside, the storm began to calm and the wind softened. Inside the barn, a quiet bond formed between a broken cowboy and a nearly lost horse. Noah did not know it yet, but this moment would change everything. Saving this horse would bring truth hidden for years and draw the eyes of the entire town toward him. Before dawn, the horse rested again, and Noah allowed himself to breathe. He leaned back against the wall and watched the fire glow softly. In that silence, he felt something he had not felt in a long time. He felt purpose returning to his life, like warmth returning after endless cold. The snow outside continued to fall gently, as if covering the past and preparing for something new. Noah stayed beside the horse, ready for whatever came next. He did not know that the discovery he made that day would soon shake the town and reveal secrets buried deeper than the snow itself. Morning came slowly, and pale light slipped through the cracks of the barn wall. Noah had not slept at all, but his body kept moving because the horse still needed care. He brought warm water and fresh straw and spoke gently as she lifted her head. Her eyes looked calmer than the night before, and her breathing sounded stronger. The snow outside had stopped and the world looked quiet and clean. Noah stepped out for a moment and felt the cold air on his face. He looked toward the hills and felt a strange feeling in his chest, as if something important had already begun. He returned to the barn quickly because the horse shifted again and made a soft sound. Hours passed and the sun climbed higher. The horse began to show signs of labor and Noah stayed close. He remembered old stories from ranch hands he once knew and followed his instincts carefully. The work was slow and tense, but he never left her side. His hands shook but his heart stayed steady. By late afternoon the moment came. The barn was filled with heavy breaths and quiet effort. Noah whispered calm words and wiped sweat from his brow, even though the air was cold. After long struggle, a small foal finally slipped into the straw. It was weak at first but alive. Noah felt his eyes fill with tears as relief washed over him. The mother horse rested while the foal moved slowly. After some time the foal stood on shaky legs and leaned against its mother. Noah watched in silence, feeling something warm rise inside him. Saving one life had turned into saving two. The barn felt brighter even though the sun was fading outside. As Noah cleaned the straw he noticed something again. The foal had the same strange mark as the mother. It was clear and sharp even on such a small body. Noah felt a chill that had nothing to do with winter. This was not a normal horse or a normal birth. He sensed that the mark meant something important. Later that day a man from town named Ben stopped by. Ben often traveled the road near Noah's land and had seen smoke rising earlier. When he saw the horses his eyes widened. He asked questions and Noah answered carefully. Ben promised to tell others that the horse was alive and safe. By evening people began to talk. Some felt amazed that Noah had saved the pregnant horse. Others whispered about the strange mark. An older man named Luke came quietly to the barn. Luke had lived in the town his whole life and knew old ranch history well. When he saw the mark his face turned serious. Luke told Noah the mark belonged to a breeder who disappeared many years ago. That breeder owned land far beyond the hills and was known for rare horses. When he vanished people searched but found nothing. Luke believed the horse had been hidden or lost during that time. Hearing this made Noah uneasy. Luke warned Noah that such horses often brought attention. He said some people cared more about ownership than life. Noah listened but did not step back. He said the horse and foal were safe here and that was all that mattered. Luke nodded slowly and respected his choice. That night the town felt restless. Noah could sense it even from his quiet cabin. He fed the horses again and made sure the barn door was strong. The mother horse stood tall now and watched him closely. There was trust in her eyes and also strength. As days passed the foal grew stronger. People came by more, often pretending to be friendly. Some offered money and others offered advice. Noah refused all offers. He kept his words simple and his actions steady. He had learned long ago that silence could protect what mattered most. One evening Noah noticed unfamiliar tracks in the snow near the road. They were deeper and wider than normal. His chest tightened and he felt danger drawing closer. He returned to the barn and checked the horses. They were safe but alert as if they sensed something too. Luke returned with more news. He said strangers had arrived in town asking about a horse found in the snow. They spoke politely but carried a sharp tone beneath their words. Luke believed they wanted to take the horse away. Noah thanked him and felt fear mix with determination. That night Noah sat beside the barn fire again. He looked at the mother horse and her foal resting together. He realized he was no longer just surviving winter. He was protecting something bigger than himself. The poor cowboy who once felt invisible now stood at the center of something powerful. The snow outside began to fall again softly. Noah stayed awake listening and watching. He knew the next days would not be easy. The discovery he made in the snow had reached the town, and soon it would reach beyond it. Still he did not regret his choice. Saving life had given his own life new meaning, and he was ready to face whatever came next. The town woke under fresh snow, and a strange tension filled the air. Noah felt it as he stepped outside his cabin and looked toward the road. The quiet place that once ignored him now watched him closely. People spoke in low voices and stopped when he passed. The story of the pregnant horse had grown larger than he expected. 2 days later strangers arrived riding strong horses with clean gear. They wore calm faces but their eyes searched every corner of the town. They asked polite questions and offered small smiles. Noah noticed them from a distance and felt his chest tighten. He knew they were not there by chance. The strangers spoke with the town leader first. They claimed they were looking for a missing horse tied to old land records. They said the horse carried proof of ownership and legacy. Their voices stayed smooth but their meaning was sharp. Some people in town grew uneasy while others felt tempted by possible reward. That evening Luke came to Noah in a hurry. He warned him that the strangers planned to visit the cabin soon. Luke said they had offered money to anyone who helped them. Noah thanked him and closed the barn doors carefully. He stood inside with the horses and felt the weight of the moment. The mother horse sensed the danger and stayed close to her foal. She no longer looked weak or afraid. Her body stood strong and her eyes followed every sound. Noah felt a deep bond with her now. They had both survived the storm and neither planned to surrender easily. When the strangers arrived, they spoke calmly and asked to see the horse. Noah stood firm and answered with few words. He said the horse was found abandoned and saved from the snow. He said no one had come for her before now. The strangers exchanged looks and pressed again. They claimed the horse belonged to them by law. They spoke of papers and rights and distant land. Noah listened, but did not move aside. He said the horse would not leave without proof and without kindness. The air grew tense and cold even inside the barn. People from town gathered quietly nearby. Some stood with Noah and others watched from a distance. Luke stepped forward and spoke of old stories and missing records. He said truth mattered more than power. The strangers did not like that answer and their patience faded. That night someone tried to break into the barn. Noah heard the sound and rushed out with a lantern. He saw shadows move away into the trees. His heart pounded, but the horses were safe. The mother horse stood between him and her foal as if guarding both lives and choices. By morning the town had changed. Fear turned into unity for many. They remembered winters when they had helped each other survive. They remembered how Noah had always worked quietly without complaint. Now they stood together and decided not to be pushed. The strangers returned once more and demanded action. The town leader refused and said no one would help them. Voices rose and anger flashed, but no violence followed. The strangers realized they had lost control. Without proof and without support they had no power here. As days passed the strangers left town one by one. The road grew quiet again and the snow softened the world. Noah felt relief but also exhaustion. He spent time caring for the horses and repairing the barn. The foal grew stronger each day and followed its mother closely. Luke continued searching old records and maps. He discovered that the breeder had planned something different long ago. The land tied to the horse was meant to be shared, not claimed. The breeder had trusted the horse to protect that future. Noah listened and understood why the horse had survived. The town gathered and discussed what to do. They decided to honor the old plan. The land would help everyone and not belong to greed. Noah did not ask for reward. He asked only to keep caring for the horses. The people agreed with respect. As winter slowly loosened its grip, Noah stood outside one evening and watched the foal run in the snow. He felt changed inside. The poor cowboy who once felt invisible now stood strong in purpose. The storm that brought the horse had also brought his true place in the world. The snow fell softly again, and Noah welcomed it without fear. He knew the hardest part had passed. What began as survival had become responsibility and trust. The discovery in the snow had shaped the future of the town, and Noah was ready for whatever came next. Spring arrived slowly, and the snow began to melt across the hills. The town felt lighter, as if a heavy weight had been lifted. Noah woke each morning to the sound of water dripping from the roof and birds returning to the trees. The long winter that had tested everyone was finally ending. The mother horse grew strong and calm, and the foal ran freely around the barn. Children from the town visited often and laughed as they watched the small horse learn to move with confidence. Noah welcomed them with quiet smiles and gentle words. His cabin no longer felt lonely. Luke continued to share what he discovered from old papers and stories. He explained how the breeder had trusted the horse to carry a future that could protect the town. The land tied to the horse was now confirmed as shared ground for grazing and farming. This decision brought relief and hope to many families. The town leaders gathered one clear morning and made the choice official. They announced that the land would belong to the people and would never be sold for greed. The crowd listened in silence and then nodded together. Unity had replaced fear and suspicion. Many people thanked Noah for his courage and kindness. Some offered him money and better work. Noah thanked them but refused wealth. He said caring for the horses and living simply was enough. His words carried strength and calm that surprised even him. As weeks passed, the town changed in small ways. Neighbors helped each other more and shared tools and food. Children learned to respect the land and animals. The story of the horse became a lesson about kindness and standing together during hard times. One evening Noah stood near the fence and watched the sunset paint the sky with soft colors. The mother horse stood beside him, and the foal rested close. Noah felt peace settle deep in his heart. He knew that saving the horse had saved a part of himself too. The town no longer saw Noah as a poor and quiet cowboy. They saw him as someone who acted when others turned away. Respect followed him wherever he walked, but he remained humble. He still wore his old coat and worked with steady hands. The land beyond the hills began to grow again, and green patches appeared where snow once ruled. Farmers planned together and shared the fields. The future looked steady and fair. The horse had become a symbol of protection and renewal. On a warm afternoon, the town gathered for a small celebration. There was food, laughter, and music. Noah stood to the side watching people smile. Luke placed a hand on his shoulder and nodded with pride. Noah felt gratitude but no need for praise. As night fell, the stars filled the sky. Noah returned to his cabin and sat quietly outside. The wind felt gentle now, and the cold no longer threatened. He looked toward the barn and listened to the peaceful sounds of life inside. He thought back to the day he found the horse buried in snow. That moment had felt heavy and frightening. Now it felt like the beginning of something meaningful. Helping one life had touched many others. The town slept calmly that night with trust restored. Noah rested knowing he had done what was right. The future no longer felt uncertain. It felt shared and strong. When morning came, Noah stepped outside and greeted the new day. The snow was gone, and the ground was firm beneath his boots. The horse and foal stood ready to move forward just like him. Together they faced a future shaped by kindness, courage, and unity.